Symphony, good morning. We're about an hour and 45 minutes out from high tide, and actually there are flood sirens going off here. I've covered a lot of nor'easters in New England, but this is the first time I've covered one in a town where there are sirens to warn people to get their cars to higher ground. But that's what's going off here in Milford. A couple of neighbors came out of their houses asking what the alarm was and then the message. And the message from the town is that in this section, the Bayview Beach section, flooding is expected as we get closer to high tide. So they were encouraging folks to move their vehicles up to higher ground. It's been a pretty interesting morning here. There was driving heavy rain, 4, 5, 6 in the morning with strong gusty winds. Bridgeport had a gust up over 60 miles per hour. Then the wind went calm. And actually the rain stopped for a while. Well, the rain's picked back up, and we're gonna slowly walk up this way. These folks have allowed us to go up on their deck to give you a better look at the waves as we see them right now. And we're still, as I mentioned, about an hour and 45 minutes out from high tide. But the water here is really high. It is splashing up against these homes, splashing up against the seawall. We're expecting moderate coastal flooding in this part of Connecticut. Now, the reason why there's already been flooding down the shoreline in New London is because the high tide there is actually happening right now. It's an earlier high tide on that part of the shoreline, a little bit later high tide as you get to New Haven and the western part of Long Island Sound. One thing I want to mention, you can kind of see where the water has already come up. See all the debris there, some seaweed, some pieces of wood too. That's something to always consider in a storm like this. If you're near big crashing waves, they can have rocks. They can have debris in them too. So you always want to stand back as far as you can, which is what we're doing here right now. But Bill, if you pan down the shoreline here too, you can see the waves splashing up on these homes as well. Now, one reason why we're so concerned about the flooding is most of the night the wind was coming in out of the east. That piled water into Long Island Sound. Now the wind is coming in out of the south, so it's coming right in from the sound. And that's really churning things up and now pushing the water in to the Connecticut shoreline. So here in Milford, the Bayview section, high tide around 10:45 this morning. There are sirens going off advising people to get their cars to higher ground because this is a spot that's known to flood. But I was speaking to the person who lives here, and they say this is the worst they've seen it in the wintertime in a couple of years. We'll keep you posted all morning. For now, we're live in Milford. I'm meteorologist Ryan Breton, Fox 61 News.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Well, staying on the shoreline right